Arnold Allen, top man. Thank you very much for sitting down with me, chatting for 15 minutes. So we're going to get straight into it, and I want to ask you first. You've trained kind of at many gyms, TriStar, and obviously you're based here with us at Renegade, and you've trained in some quality gyms, BKK, etc. downstairs. How have you found that has helped you as a fighter, and what would you advise to other fighters coming up as to why to perhaps do that?
Yeah, like traveling around the world, you know, like you know yourself. There's only so many ways that we can all move our bodies, like kickboxing, wrestling, different styles. You know, we're all doing similar stuff in this sport.
Yeah.
You travel around, everyone does the same stuff, but a little bit different. Everyone has little different intricacies, little tricks they do, maybe different training ethics, the way they train, the way they carry themselves. So you learn and you sort of pick and take the favourite bits you like. This guy does this, really like that, and this guy does this, I really like that. So taking those little bits from those guys, and I think one of the keys as well is going somewhere where there's a world champion, you know, going to TriStar, GSP was there, and getting to pick his brain and learn things from him, even just being around the guys that helped him get to where he was. You know, there's so many hidden gems. Obviously Renegade is known through, like, people know it for Leon, right? But there's so many guys in this gym that helped him get to where he was and helped him build his game, and you pick and learn from those guys as well. So those little bits, those people, those training partners, I think that helps. Builds the confidence as well, where you've seen so many different situations with different styles, different examples, and having that wealth of knowledge picked from everyone definitely helps.
Would you say that, like, I find from my experience of travelling that there's high level guys in different, you might go somewhere and there's a high level Thai boxer fight here and he's world class, or there's a high level wrestler. I find it's a great way to measure yourself as well and see where you are, and the stuff that maybe you've been honing your skills at the smaller gym, you can then test against on a world level.
Definitely. You know, it's frustrating sometimes when you're in a top gym. Obviously everyone here is like, we're all training the similar things, we're all practicing the same things, so then maybe the technique I'm trying every week, like, you know, the defense, you stop it every week. But then I go to a different gym and I try exactly the same thing, and I'm like, it does work. It's just that Tim knows that I'm going to try that and defends it every week. So that is definitely something I've seen, like going away to one of these world-class gyms like this, and then you go work with someone like some amateurs somewhere else, or beginners or different level, and those techniques do work.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it does work.
And I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I find I have to sometimes remind myself that who I'm training with here at Team Renegade, and think, you know, beat myself up and remember that, like, you know what, these are world-class fighters. But then you'll get into the fight, and it does work in the fight, and you can get stuff off, and you're thinking, I can't get this on anyone in the gym. But obviously fighting is always a different experience to training.
Definitely.
But I can definitely relate there. And while we talk about Team Renegade, what is it you like about Team Renegade? What is it you can share with people about Team Renegade, other than what you've said, world class, Leon Edwards, and good training partners? Yeah,
the main thing when I come back home, when I was training, I knew Ash and I knew Tom, and I was just all right. I like the way those guys, I've known Tom from TriStar actually, weirdly. I met Tom over at TriStar, training in Canada, and when I knew come back, he opened his own place up. I like the way he trained, the way he carries himself in the gym, so I figured that would be a good fit. And then coming down to the sparring sessions, it was sort of more familiar to what I knew. Like, the guys aren't, you know, every gym has the meatheads, the guys trying to take your head off. Won't name any names, but no, like, everyone's on a good level. All the guys are operating to better each other, you know.
Yeah.
What was it? The rising tide brings up all ships, so we're all 100%. Trying to come up together. And I think whenever I've seen it obviously training at TriStar with the end of his career with GSP, but whenever, like, he's in the gym prepping for something, people come out of the woodwork and, like, kind of want to better themselves. They want to be around that. Yeah. And now obviously have that with Leon, and he's the world champion. Guys are going to start traveling around and want to be a part of that journey and better themselves and carry themselves to that level. Fortunately, I was here just before he was champion, so I want to hang on.
Not a glory hunter. So It does bring a different energy, doesn't it? Having
Yeah.
a world champion in the gym, and then you've got like his brother about to fight again for world champion. There's just it brings many people say there's just a really great energy here when, you know, when it's on and it's busy. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So recently, in fact, I think it was yesterday or the day before, it was announced that you're fighting Giga on UFC 304 in Manchester. What are your thoughts on him as an opponent and the fight as a matchup? And what are your thoughts of fighting at 4 a.m. in the morning?
He's a world-class operator, elite kickboxer. Obviously, he's been training MMA for years now. A good team as well. I think King's MMA, so he could be well prepared. I'm sure they're watching my tapes and studying and all that. So I'm sure they're preparing for the best version, likewise. But it's good. It's nice. I feel like when you got those scary challenges, guys that finishes, and it brings out the best. You know, you have that little nervous energy. You know, when you got someone that's like, it's not much that's like frightens you about him. It's like it's hard to get up and sort of put that extra 10% in.
Yeah.
But when you've got someone who's sort of known for finishing guys, got devastating knockouts, makes you want to give that little extra. But fighting 3-4 in the morning is it's not ideal, but it's good to be. I mean, it's especially good to be part of the team here because I assume we're going to have a few boys on it. Obviously, Leon fighting Bilal in the main event. Hopefully, I can sort of pick his brain and see what he's doing on it. And, do it that way.
No, I think, mate, it's a great card. There's going to be a lot of good names on it. It is a shame that it's early hours of the morning, but it's business in it. It's only like fighting out in Vegas. It's just you just got to move stuff around and adapt your training to that. But I'm excited to see it. Fortunately, you've got plenty of long-range strikers here, so it's great that you're at Renegade to prepare for him. And it's a great fight. My boy Arnold's going to come out on top, obviously. So, how did you get into martial arts, and was it MMA that you started with, or was you traditional background and you progressed to MMA? And if it was that, what got you into MMA?
Kind of as a kid, like me and my brother used to always watch Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And then it was like watching the old like Jackie Chan movies, Jet Li, you know, Master of Crack Knuckles, all that, Drunken Master, all that. We were watching all their movies, and we used to like practice the moves on each other.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be holding a cushion, he'd be side kicking me and kicking me across the room. And my brother used to just bully me. He used to beat me up, older brother. And I got to I think it was about 11, 12, I started kickboxing. Then I started boxing, and I had a few ABA fights at amateurs. I won like Eastern County amateurs. And my brother was boxing, he weren't great at boxing. So I think he went like 1-5. Hit like a truck, but he couldn't, no skills boxing. And it was just a bit of a funny scene, like a bit political. And in my sort of young brain, I was thinking, you know, like to escape that politics, I would get into MMA and thinking, oh, there's no issues with that, we'll just fight. Definitely had more fights and definitely fell in love with like the grappling aspect of it, the wrestling, the Muay Thai, and all the other aspects you can't do in boxing. But the goal initially was to pursue boxing. I wanted to box. It was just that there was no competition, so I had 5 fights, just wasn't getting any more. I was like, trained for like 3 years in the amateurs and had 5 fights. So I was just like, come on, I want to fight.
Yeah, you wasn't able to keep busy enough,
that's it. You know, when you're young and you want to compete every week. So and I see other lads that were at different teams in different areas. They're getting to compete like 10 times a season, and I'm sitting there like, what the fuck's going on? But yeah, all politics. And then I jumped into MMA and was getting competition and just fell in love with it, really.
That's it.
Yeah,
no, brilliant.
Weren't very good at football, and that was it. So yeah.
No, it's good because obviously your dad fought MMA, Pacer, the legend. I wonder what timing-wise was that? Had he kind of started at the same time as you started and just got fighting quickly, being an adult and you being a kid?
No, so he was fighting. So he was doing strongman. And his thing was like, he says MMA saved his life because he was like big, juiced up gorilla. And I think a lot of his friends are having heart attacks, are young, you know, maybe abusing whatever they're taking. Or it's not healthy, is it? You know, you're 200 kilo, 180 kilo, whatever you're doing. And
So he got into MMA to better his health.
Yeah. So he
and was that
all...
at the same time as you was doing it, or
no, before.
Oh, before.
So,
okay.
yeah.
So was that? Do you think a bit of an influence on your decision to try MMA, maybe?
Do you know what the weirdest thing was? That's why I went into boxing a bit more, because my dad was doing MMA, and I thought that sucks. I was like, I see him wrestling these guys. They're wearing these like little Vale Tudo shorts, and I was
the
like,
good old days.
Literally, I was like, nah, I don't like that.
Okay.
I'd see him like wrestling all these big sweaty men. I'm like, nah, man, I'm going boxing.
Right.
And it guided me, but like accidentally, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No.
I think I was at that age where it was like, I see my dad doing it. I was like, that's not cool. So my dad came home on a Harley or something. I was like, sports bike's better. Like it was that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
You know?
No, mate, I can relate. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But now, how the tides have turned.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Yeah, literally.
Now your dad's on the side, hitting the bags, boxing, while you've been here wrestling and sparring.
There was a period when I was younger and like, I think it's good, but like going out with my mates, drinking and whatnot, and he'd always bang on my door in the morning and be like, come and training? And I'm like, fuck off, no. And then like slowly, it got to the point where I'm banging on his door like, come on, we're going training. You know? So there was definitely, he was doing it before, and I think in my head it was like, I didn't like it because he was doing it, but then I think something in my head like grew up a little bit.
Clicked, that's an age thing, I reckon, and it just general.
I got to like 15, I'm like, no, it's pretty cool.
It's cool, like everyone at the gym like loves it when your dad comes up and supports you, moral support, and he's a top man. So no, it's good to see. Moving away totally from MMA. Right, this is random. Okay, so anyone who knows Arnold knows he loves a Tesco meal deal. You've got, what is it, £3.40 with your club card. All you've got to your name is £3.40 club card. You've got an hour to live. It's your last ever Tesco meal deal. What is it and why?
Well, if it's my last one ever, I'm dying out. It's going to be a lot. I have to get like maximum value for your money. So I want a chicken triple. So I get three quarters, 3 halves.
Oh, okay. Is that the one with the 3 different chicken in?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going for a chicken triple.
Them are the outer camp sandwiches for me.
That's it. I don't think they're in there anymore. But there used to be the Boost Duo, the Boost bar where they do the duo.
Was that in the meal deal?
Yeah.
Shit, I've been missing
I don't know if they've taken it out, but it might be a single now.
Good choice.
Or whatever they've done the Boost Duo, but it's like shrunk down to the size of one, but they've cut it in half. Whatever. And chocolate milkshake. What is it? The Mars. I think the Mars milk.
Mars milk.
Yeah. Full
maximum
fat.
amount of calories for £3.40.
Get the highest value in
there.
there.
Go on a high.
Yeah, I'm no healthy crap. No pineapple butt chunks or nothing. All calories and carbs and all that. That's it.
You've trained with GSP, TriStar, one of the best to ever do it, arguably. You now train with Leon. I believe, I'm biased obviously, but he will be known as one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
Maybe even surpass GSP's records in time. But you've trained with both of them. What's your take on both of them? And both of them in their prime, obviously Leon in their prime.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one, who would you pick? And if you can't, I totally respect that and understand it.
So like training with George, I know him like that.
George, my old mate George.
Training with GSP. He, the first time I sparred with him, that was the reason I went there. Like one of my big inspirations in MMA was him. That was the reason I travelled over there, was to train with like guys like that. I remember sparring with him. I was shadowboxing in front of him. I was like stopping my jab. I was like, I can't. What am I going to do? I can't hit this guy.
Can't jab GSP.
Yeah, and he cracked me hard. I was just like, oh, okay, I'm going to get beat up here. So yeah. But the main thing I found with him, just his timing with everything, it's like perfect. Very very simple. His game is very simple, but like everything's perfect. Like his jab, the timing, short fakes. You take a half a step wrong, he's in on the double leg. You take a half a step forward, too heavy, you bite on a feint, and he's in on you. Like shots too, not just entries for takedowns, punches. Yeah. But his boxing's very simple. His wrestling's very simple, but all like high percentage moves. All things that are hard to stop. A good double leg, good single leg, and I find with him he's one of those guys who's got like no ego. He's always trying to improve. And I've heard guys that have been in the gym, amateur guys maybe, that they've maybe took him down and done something, and they're like, oh yeah, I did this to George today. I'm like, no, you didn't. Like he was trying something. Like he was trying something. So he's got no ego, whereas Leon, but no, it's no ego, and it's something I like. I liked a lot of the way he trains, and like if there's a move he wants to try, like maybe a defense that you know, someone's got you in the choke, he'll try to escape it. He's not just going to go, oh, this works every time, I'm going to try this. Someone taught me this. He's like, I'm going to try it, and if I get choked by in the gym, I get choked in the gym, and I'll keep trying. Maybe I'll get better.
He's got a good attitude towards training and stuff.
And myself, I remember I took him down with a double leg once, and in my head I was like, I'm the man. Like I'm the man. I just took down one of the best guys ever in MMA, and but I remember thinking like he was just trying something with his striking, playing something, because I see him doing it in a round with someone else. And how
would you compare like GSP and his methods of training to Leon, and what you've learned from being around Leon?
That's one thing I see with Leon. He's very you'd think he was like an anti-wrestler, right? Like he's so good at the anti-wrestling. But I remember the first camp I was here when I see him prepping for Usman, and I was shocked to see him. He was always wrestling. He was always like trying to take guys down. He wasn't like hand fighting, break, get off. And it's kind of that similar thing of like, he's trying to be the best everywhere. Like he's not trying to be, I won that exchange in the gym. He's trying to immerse himself in bad spots to get to be the best everywhere. Like when we do the Monday wrestling, it's like, right, he's starting on all fours. He's starting you on the back, starting the guys on the mount, on the fence, like all the worst positions. A lot of guys where they got big egos, like they don't want to be in those bad positions.
So you see some similarities, really, I guess.
Obviously, style-wise, it's very.
Style-wise, different, but like with their ethos towards training.
Yeah, it's just trying to be the best martial artist, right? I think Leon is, for me, for now, he's the guy, right? He's improving every fight, and he's always trying to show that he can wrestle. He is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's trying to show that every fight. But guys that are just fans and haven't seen those things probably just think he's a counter wrestler striker, but obviously in the gym we all know he's got full arsenal. Like he coaches the wrestling on the Monday, so we all know what he can do. And
it takes time to build that legacy, though, doesn't it? You know, like GSP, he would have got counted out, you know, when he lost to the short guy.
Sarah.
Sarah. You know, it's like it takes time. So I fully agree with you there, mate. And I think I'm biased, as I said, but I honestly see him becoming one of the greatest to ever do it. He's phenomenal. Yeah, I agree. And he's on that road, right? And it's just beating the guys you can in front of him. Like people criticise the last fight with Colby, but having sparred with Leon, he has that, his fakes, his energy, whatever he's able to do just completely shuts you out. People made excuses for Colby, but having sparred with him and experienced that and seen what happened, it's like, no, there's a whole inner working there, like little hip fakes, little knee fakes. After seeing Usman get head kicked like that, it's one wrong move and that's the result, right? So I'm sure that's Colby's made a load of excuses and said a load of things, and Colby says a lot of shit though,
exactly. But I've seen it in the gym. I felt it sparring with him, where you end up in front of him like, you know, so
hesitant.
No.
So
and that's kind of the same that GSP has. If you see him, where his entries to his doubles, his singles, his jab, so basic but so effective that it almost makes strikers sort of in front of him freeze a little bit. Like, his takedown's so good. I like when he fought Thiago Alves. Like Thiago Alves at the time was like the most devastating striker. Juiced off his nut, I'm sure. And George just completely cancelled him out. Fakes, just playing the game perfect and being the perfect sort of martial artist, you know.
I was really impressed with him in the Josh Koscheck fight. When Koscheck, being a really high level wrestler, just shut him down with the jab.
Literally.
And it was like, he looked like a world class elite boxer in there. It's like, they're smart, they're intelligent fighters, and it's like, I always say, like, I'm fortunate enough to have Leon corner me when I fight, and I feel like I've got a cheat, I've got the human cheat code, the MMA cheat code in my corner. Like, I feel like I'm getting there with anyone within in my corner. Like,
And it's just like simplicity is key in it. Like you see those elite, those pound for pound greats.
Yeah.
They just do the basic stuff like very good. Yeah.
Absolutely. So who are you picking then, GSP or Leon in their prime?
Oh, I don't know. It's a tough one. I don't want to pick.
I respect that. Okay. I'm going with my boy Leon.
Yeah. It's you know what? Tough fight. Cool.
It would make a good fight, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would be who can make their game plan work. Obviously, that's all fights, but yeah, be interesting.
Okay, you know what? My drive home, I'm going to be thinking about that. Thinking who do I pick?
I think feeling them both in the gym doesn't give you a true representation either. Like I think, like because the fight's different again, isn't it?
Yeah, and for me, obviously, both welterweights, like both.
I
probably
think
being
Leon
nice
would be
to
the
me.
faster striker.
Yep.
I think GSP would be slightly stronger.
Yeah.
And better on the offensive wrestling. This is obviously, I don't know if this is to be included,
it's
but
kind
I
of
think
interesting.
like, defensively, I think Leon's got the better anti-grappling, anti-wrestling.
Yeah. That's
it's like, would GSP's offensive wrestling be enough to nullify his anti-grappling?
Yeah. That's something interesting where the game is like evolved so fast. Now all the anti-grappling, all the anti-wrestling is a lot like fence work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like getting off. But in George's era, it was all explosive takedowns from open mat, singles and doubles.
The rush double.
Yeah. It's kind of like evolved a lot, isn't it? So
3 MMA fighters on the planet you want to fight before you retire.
I always answer this question. Obviously, it's free, but like my answer to this question was always whoever like the champion at my weight is at that time. So obviously, the guy at the minute for me is Ilya. But yeah, like whoever the best guy is, you know, Volkanovski could be cool. He's not championable, but yeah. So, I could say Aldo, but that's probably gone now. Back in the day, he was the greatest featherweight, right? The greatest featherweight.
Aldo, Volkanovski, Topuria, 3 fights I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Now, any weight category, any fighter on the planet.
Any era or this era?
Any dead or alive, any weight, who would you like to fight and why?
Who would I like to fight?
In fact, let's go as wide as anyone on the planet. Celebrities, sportsmen.
Yeah. Right, that's tough. Shit. It might be a while, just daydreaming. We go Vanderlei Silva.
Yes.
And I'll just get juiced off my nut. And we'll just have a trade-off.
Just have a war.
Yeah. We'll just stand
BJ
there.
Penn, man,
I'll be
licking the
doing
blood
the old
off
rolling the knuckles or that. Yeah.
Just
Shave
for
my head.
For the slugfest.
That's it, yeah. Just, what is it? When he fought Brian Stan, they had that back and forth. I think both of them got dropped about 4 times. Like, absolute classic. Yeah, one of those. Yeah. Nice. I'll probably come out the wrong end of that one.
You'd be shooting doubles straight away. Mate, for me, Dan Severn, man.
Dan Severn, classic.
He's like, he's like the epitome of man. I keep seeing reels go around at the minute. Dan Severn.
Absolutely awesome. The mustache.
Just talking about like when we were fighting.
Back in my day.
Yeah, back in my day.
Yeah. That's the one.
That's a real man.
Oh man.
So, I'm a 16-year-old kid. I've been training MMA for 4 years, and I'm thinking about taking this up as a career. From your years of fighting around the world, training around the world, and experience that you have, what one tip would you give that young lad or female that would be the most beneficial to them?
Yeah, I think the main thing for a young lad coming through is like immerse yourself in everything, right? When you're young and you're learning all your different skills and all that, it's very easy to go boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I think it's good to embrace those like different arts like taekwondo and karate styles, maybe judo, like stuff like that. The next generation coming through is like where MMA kind of converted into one. Like, I remember when I was a kid, it was like you had to go to so many different gyms to get your jiu-jitsu was at a different gym, your wrestling was a different place, your boxing, Muay Thai, everything was somewhere else. And now everyone's kind of become like a one style. It is MMA. It's not like, oh, this guy is this style, he does this. Everyone kind of has the same blueprint. So I think it's important to have that uniqueness. So I think when you're young and you're building your skill set, think it's
you're very
important.
malleable when you're younger.
Yeah.
So just immerse yourself
That's
in
it.
all martial arts and
Just
take
taking
what
it.
you can from.
You never know. Maybe you go taekwondo and you really like the footwork, and you adapt well to it rather than just like a base sort of MMA striking style. And having that X factor, something different, isn't it? Something. It's good to like evolve. Obviously, it doesn't have to be taekwondo. It could be boxing, like something simple. But just having that one thing that stands out, I think is always good. But like, do everything, and get used to sucking at stuff. You know, I remember when I first turned up to jiu-jitsu, it was like coming from boxing amateur and then doing jiu-jitsu in the gi. I was getting killed, like left, right, and centre. Every other day, I was getting choked out 10 times, and just have to find the humility and then laugh about it. And right. Tomorrow it's 9 times, next day is 8 times.
Yeah.
Maybe next week I'll sub someone. You know, it's like,
you see it regular on gyms, then you leave your ego at the door.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to do as a competitive, you know, alpha male, whatever. It's very, very hard to do, but the quicker you learn to be able to do that, the quicker you'll grow.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things I found for me, and it took me a lot later in my career to learn this, is to like know that you're in it for the long game. Don't always be in a rush to fight. Always, you know, like understand, especially that'd be my advice to a 16-year-old. Like,
that's true, yeah.
Take your time. Don't rush to fight. Don't, like, you know, don't be too hung up on your amateur results. Your amateur career and that,
learning,
it's like an apprenticeship
Yeah.
for your pro.
And you're right,
You
I've
know
seen
what I
that so many times. You've seen it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So many guys come in, they're like,
I want to fight.
They drop out of school, quit their job, whatever. They're like, I'm going to be a UFC fighter or whatever. And they go all in, and then a year later, like, they haven't got the result they wanted yet. And they're like, oh, I'm done.
But ain't
That's
that
it.
just the world nowadays? Everything's
Literally
so like
Immediate. Right?
like not. It's hard. I think it's hard for the younger generation to be in it for the long game.
Yeah.
And I was impatient as fuck. I remember, mate. I was like, can you get me a fight? You know, my previous gym, like, you know, as an amateur, I want another fight, and he was like, just train, just train. And I used to be like, I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
I had the same thing when I was. So I signed to the UFC when I was 21, and I had it written in my notes. So I was like, right, if I'm not in the UFC this year, I'm not quitting MMA, but I'm like going back to normal work, and I'm going to go part-time training and maybe a bit of a hobbyist, because I was like, I was fed up of seeing all my mates and they're all like having nice things, and I've been bumming it on the train trying to make it to, you know, hiding in the toilets to make it to training and that sort of shit. But yeah, I mean, that would have been stupid in hindsight. Like now, if some 21-year-old who was, I think I was 8-1 at the time, thinking, right, if I'm not in the UFC this year, I'm like, I'm getting a different job or doing something different. So how stupid I would have called that guy an idiot. Yeah.
Mate, I'd love to go back to being 21 now, knowing what I know now. But hey ho. If only. What was I going to say? I remember actually meeting you the first time I actually ever met you. We fought on the same card together, and it was a Cage Warriors like double main card in London.
Yes. The Super Saturdays.
Super Saturday, that was it. Yeah, that was the first time I met you.
Yeah.
And I think we spoke briefly in the sauna. We were cutting weight and stuff. But I mean, that's got to have been going like what, 8-9 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you'd have been like 19, 20. You fought the Polish kid.
Marcin Warszak.
Yeah, you had a war, and I think
19.
19. I had a war with Damian Brown.
Yes,
And
Australian
I think we were both like pushing to try and get fight of the night. They didn't give bonuses at the time.
No.
I don't think they do still, but I think ours 2 fights were in like competition for fight of the night. That was the first time I met you.
That was good fun there.
So how old are you now? 28. So that's
Just
like
turned 30, man.
30.
Old man.
11 years, man.
Flying by, innit?
But then the next fight, you was in the corner for Sean Carter, cheering him on. He choked me out.
So, he's like SpongeBob, and he just.
Sure, man. He's a nice guy. I like Sean.
He's funny.
That fight was mad. I threw everything but the kitchen sink at him, and he was still standing. I broke my hand severely, and he just wrapped up a triangle. But I remember seeing after, he said his coach had seen I was a bit open. I didn't even really train jiu-jitsu. I was a bit vulnerable to getting choked out there. So like fair play to him.
When I started jiu-jitsu training, that was the guy's training move. I was getting triangled like every session. He was triangled a bit. And But then eventually your defense gets good, right? So like fuck, I got triangle 10 times by this guy. I'm like, not today.
Yeah.
Like, not today, yeah. So, yeah,
he's
crazy.
a weird guy. Like, I swear I hit him with everything, mate. I hit him so hard, I fractured both my hands here. And it was the bad fracture where it comes up like that. It was a really bad one. I had to have surgery after.
I've sparred with him. Obviously, I've sparred with him for years. And it's just one of those guys, like, I've hit him with like some of my best body shots, and like, you know, when you put someone down with a body shot, you feel it, and it's like they go down. I've never put him down, and I've with a body shot, I've never put him down with a headshot either. But like, I've hit him with my best body kicks, my best body punches. Once he said after, he was like, "Oh, that hurt, that body shot." And I was like, "Did it?" Like, mate, there was nothing.
He's a tough guy.
Yeah, he is.
Good, mate. Well, listen, thanks for talking to me,
you,
and I appreciate it, man. And you all know where to go to him anyway. So, Almighty, your tag, tell him.
Arnold BFA everywhere, yeah. Yeah, Arnold BFA
Arnold
everywhere.
BFA everywhere.
I don't know why it's BFA, but yeah.
I get you, same. You got the Almighty one, in you? That's the merch one, isn't it? But
Almighty Merch Co. That's it, Almighty Merch Co.